I'm in the finishing stages on the Sheraton Bowed Chest of drawers. This is one of the drawers, and I applied raw linseed oil. After sanding to 320, I applied raw linseed oil to all of the inside and out of all the carcass pieces and also all of the drawer pieces. And then the next day, after applying that raw linseed oil, I brushed on shellac. Now, I've been using a waxed shellac. It's a Buttonlac shellac, so they're these buttons that I can get. It's not a very refined kind of shellac. I have to filter it as well. But I chip this up and dilute it with alcohol, and then I keep it pretty thin. And I've applied, probably brushed on, maybe 5 coats of shellac in one day. So now I'm at the next day, and I want to sand this down. It feels very rough with all that shellac on there. And I'm going to flatten it and smooth it all out, take all that roughness out. And I'm using 320 sandpaper, and I do not follow the grain. I just swirl the sandpaper and watch it carefully to see. I certainly don't want to sand too much, but I do want to sand enough. And what I expect to see is some nice powder coming off. I'm also seeing a little bit of the oil that was on the surface, and as I applied the shellac, that oil, some of that oil comes up on the surface and embeds into the sandpaper on the first sanding. And this is the first sanding after applying that oil. So after this, I'll be applying more shellac. I'll be going into a French polish mode on this piece. So there'll be a lot more shellac work involved. Now you can see that it's picking up some of that excess oil that was on the surface. But after I start applying new shellac, the next time I sand, I will not see that oil come up on the surface, because it's sealed the oil underneath the shellac. And this feels really nice after sanding this like that. So it's working well, and the grain is not filled, especially, well, in this mahogany. The maple doesn't have an open grain. That's this middle panel of crotch big leaf maple, so it doesn't have the open grain, but the mahogany does. And I will do French polishing to fill the grain of that mahogany. So this will be a flat surface eventually. I'll go over not just the front face of the drawer, but I'll go over all the drawer. The rest of the drawer, I'll probably go back to 220 and use the 220. But on the front, I'm using the 320. I'm not seeing as much oil pick up here on this side over here. That oil, that raw linseed oil has been sealed over by the shellac. I don't have to worry about whether that oil dries or not. It will eventually dry, but it's not going to be on the surface. The shellac is on the surface. So that's about all that I will do on this front. I don't see any runs or drips or extra shellac on here that I need to flatten. It's all flattened pretty well, so I don't have to work any special spots here. After brushing on several coats of shellac, I sanded it off with 320, and now I'm ready to put more shellac on. I'm not at the stage where I want to do French polish yet, but I will get there. I want to lay on a few more coats of shellac using a pad instead of a brush. This is furniture wadding, and I just fold it up something like that. And then I've got a little bit of the Buttonlac here in a dish, and I can just grab a little bit of that and apply it softly, and there's not much going on. And then I feel like I need to get a little bit more. If it starts to stick a little bit, then you need a little more shellac on the pad. Okay, I'll just go through all 4 drawer fronts like that, and then probably it's dry enough that I can do it again and perhaps go through the cycle again just today, and then tomorrow I'll sand that at 320 again and probably start on the French polish procedure.